It is 6 o'clock. I want to welcome everybody out to this Allgood City Council meeting for Tuesday, January 17th, 2017. At this time, we'll have roll call.
Honorable Mayor Bilbrey.
Present.
Honorable Vice Mayor Dyer.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Norris.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Green.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Hurd.
Present.
Our invocation will be led by Bill Matheny. Sir, if you would.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, Lord, as we come humbly before you, we come thanking you, Lord, for the many blessings of another day of life, for all your love towards us, for hearing and answering our prayers. We thank you for Jesus, most of all. We pray to Heavenly Father that you just look down tonight, touch those that are sick, Lord, wherever they might be, heal their bodies. We ask you, Lord, to comfort all those that's lost their loved ones, recognizing, dear Heavenly Father, they're sad and heartbroken, Lord, and you're the only one that can give them comfort. We pray, Lord, you look down here tonight, dear Heavenly Father, and bless this meeting. We come together, Lord, take care of business, Lord, that everything will be done according to your will. Lord, we know tonight if it's done in your will that it'll be pleasing in your sight. Watch over us and protect us, keep us in your will, and forgive us for sins. We'll not fail to bow our heads. Give you the praise for everything. Let's ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Richard Wood, sir.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is to consider approval of the agenda as presented. I think everybody's had a chance to review that. We have a motion and second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval of minutes of the council meeting held on December 13th, 2016. I think everybody's had a chance to review those minutes. Is there any changes need to be made?
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Under new business, consider approval to suspend the reading of ordinance 612-17 and 613-17. We will discuss each one of those individually. Any discussion? I make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion second. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Consider approval of first reading ordinance 612-17 to change the zoning classification of approximately .83 acres located on First Avenue from R1 Single Family Residential District to an R3 High Density Residential District. Is there anybody here to speak on that?
I'm just looking to build some homes on there.
Okay,
Three homes
who are
is
you?
what we're
Who are
hoping.
you?
Andy Hammock.
Andy, Mr. Hammock, okay. You looking to build 3 houses?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Keith, you got anything you want to add to that?
Mr. Hammock has a letter from the property owner stating that they have their permission for Mr. Hammock to ask for the rezoning on their behalf, and they support the rezoning request. Assuming the rezoning goes through, he would purchase the property at that point and move through with plotting it out.
Okay.
Did come with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission.
Okay. Have you talked to all the neighbors there in the area? Is there any opposing to that
I
that
have
you're
not.
aware of?
I have not spoken with any of the neighbors.
You haven't spoken with any of them. We had one call that's not happy with that, but I don't think that person's here, and Keith recognizes her and says she's not, so.
No.
Okay. Is there any questions for him?
Now, I had the opportunity to talk with Mr. Hammock during the planning commission meeting, when he first asked for the change, and it passed, of course, through the planning commission. He met all the requirements, and glad that he was asking before he actually bought, and assumed that it would be okay to do it, or that we would pass it. So At this point, I'll recommend approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion second on the floor. Roll call vote?
Mayor Bilbrey?
No.
Vice Mayor Dyer?
Yes.
Honorable Norris?
Yes.
Honorable Green?
Yes.
Honorable Hurd?
Yes.
Thank you.
The next item is consider approval, first reading of ordinance 613-17 to amend Title 1, Chapter 1 of the municipal codes in its entirety. Keith, you want to speak on that?
This will be first reading on an ordinance that was asked, that we put together by the vice mayor. We went over it for a couple of months and fine-tuned it. The items will be time and place of regular meetings, special call meetings, method of placing items on the agenda, order of business, and general rules of order. Any item that is not on the agenda that someone wishes to speak about, they would have to present the information they wish to present to council to be added to that meeting, and this covers all of that information.
How did this get, and I talked to you, Vice Mayor, before, and I know you was quoted in the paper, and I don't know if it was your exact words in the meeting, but it said that you didn't want to limit anybody's God-given right to speak in a meeting. And is this where you wanted to go with this, or?
Well, I think it's grown into something more than what was first anticipated. There's no mistake about that. But I don't, again, I want to re-clarify that I'm not, repeat, not trying to squash anybody's right to come and speak before the council. In its originality, it was intended to give this body an opportunity, whether it be a question for the council or the city administrator or the city attorney, even the city recorder, to have those questions and be able to answer them in a timely fashion, because as I stated before, oftentimes we have to wait until the next month's meeting. Oftentimes we have to wait until the next month's meeting in order to provide an answer to the citizens. That was its originality, and it has gotten into this. But at the same time, it does address an avenue for us to get those questions prior to, so we can have those answers. I.e., meaning the line that says, place an item on the agenda for a meeting by notifying the city administrator in a timely manner. And those items that would be non-agenda related items. I mean, anything that we discuss in a particular meeting, anyone can come up at any time during the public comment section of it and address those particular items.
Right.
It's just non-agenda items that, whether it be I don't even know where to begin. I mean, like I said, it could be a legal issue, or it could be a question that only the city administrator has an answer for, or something like that, so.
In speaking with the city attorney about it, we both had the concern that maybe the time limit to get them an answer wasn't long enough.
Okay.
For instance, if we have a question that we have to send to the attorney with his court, maybe holidays falling in there, I don't know that the days, right, John, jump in here if you have concern about that, like we talked about, would be enough for him to get the information back.
How many days now does he have to come up with information?
It says in there,
Currently,
1
there's
week
1
prior.
yeah, a week prior to that.
And then potentially, they might have to wait until after that meeting, especially if it's something that I'm going to have to look at as opposed to just the council,
Well,
because then it's another
Could you
step in
not just
there.
change it to 7 to 10 days?
Well, it's already at the 7-day point now, and if this is leading to the question of, do I have an issue with extending that time period? By no means. I have no issue with that whatsoever.
We're just thinking we need to give him enough time to get what we need. And of course, he was concerned too, when I talked to him about, you know, of course, it coming to the city attorney, our city administrator, and that should be that if something comes in to Keith here, it probably needs to go through him as well to be presented,
Right.
even though it may be something as simple as maybe water pressure or something like that,
Right.
to make sure that we've got the right answer. So, I mean, the chain is not really addressed in here as well. of course, the concerns, about limiting only 4 to speak. Did anybody read the newspaper, the commentary that the Herald Citizen put out
I did.
by that? Everybody read it? Let me read it just a minute. And it addresses exactly this issue here on what we're trying to do. We can appreciate the Allgood City Council's effort to try to get a handle on its sometime contentious meetings. Allgood officials are looking at a number of ways to better handle the public comment portions of their meetings. They are considering limiting each citizen's comments to several minutes, as have many other public bodies, but during the public comment portion of their meeting. We understand that sometimes an impassioned speaker can intentionally or non-intentionally hijack a meeting, and we generally agree that this is reasonable. But we have concerns about other portions of Allgood that Allgood is exploring. One of those is to allow just 4 people a month to express themselves. Another of this one is the biggest concern is to make citizens who want to speak submit detailed information on the subject matter well in advance. Any requests supplying insufficient detail or requests that could come after the 4th filed request to speak will not be placed on the following month's agenda, according one set of the criteria city officials are considering. Whoa, Nelly, she says. The 4 speaker limit seems contrary and also seems to indicate that the officials expect everyone to be addressing the same issue. Even worse, though, would be requiring people to submit sufficient data on whatever they are wanting to talk about. Some people simply have questions about water pressure or just want to talk about why their road should be paved. But no matter what the topic, they should be allowed to do so without cumbersome bureaucracy. In the city, if the city doesn't have an immediate answer, it can follow up at another meeting or have the person meet with the appropriate department head. We have hopes that when city officials think this through, they will realize that these kind of regulations could have a chilling impact on the freedom of speech in a government body that is supported to be doing the people's business. Democracy, as we know, isn't always a tidy business. Even so, it is one of those blessings we should be considering. And and that was kind of lengthy, and I apologize for reading the whole thing, but I mean, it does bring out the point that they should be allowed to speak. Now, my understanding is that some of this comes around protecting the council, so we're not personally attacked, and I agree with that. We should never be personally attacked. Every speaker that comes up here should address the chair, and I've told them repeatedly, you address it to me, the chair. At any point, and written in this, it says that they will be respectable, respective to this council, and it should be. I don't think that was in the old one that we had. Also, as any other state law gives us the ability that if we have somebody trying to hijack a meeting or cause problems in the meeting, we can have them escorted out. I already talked to the chief. The chief is aware of that statute and the law and knows where we stand on that. I understand. I just think there's a way that we can do what we need to do without limiting to 4 people or letting them speak. Now, I remember the previous council, and I think you guys were on it, me and Hurd wasn't. I remember people coming up and asking questions, and everybody had the straight face. Nobody answered anything. I think there should be, the question should be submitted. I think we need times. If somebody wants water, they have to fill out the appropriate paperwork before they get the service. Here, if they want the question, they want the answer, then I think they should submit the paperwork, and we have time to give them the right answer, reviewed by the attorney. But I don't think it's appropriate to limit them to speak. Even if we set up here, and like the attorney said, what we could do is just have it here, and I'll read it off. Hey, I appreciate you coming, I appreciate your concern, but if you'll fill the paperwork out, we'll get you an answer.
I think we should leave it like it is, and because you guys, mayor, vice mayor, y'all have control of the meeting. Not a big deal. We hadn't had any issues.
But it's changing how we're going to do it now.
John needs time.
Can I make a comment?
Sure,
That
sure.
article was November 20th. We removed the 4-person limit. There's no limit to how many people can speak. The time limit that is given to people
It's not numbered.
is not numbered. It says only no citizen shall be allowed to speak for an excessive amount of time on the same grievance or issue before the council without the consent of the presiding officer or the majority of the council.
Is it protecting us from somebody jumping on our case or something?
Well, the intent was to try to be
The intent
sure.
was in trying, to do that, so, because, that some of the
And
council.
also, like I said, give people answers in a timely manner, because it would be disconcerting to me, sitting in the audience, if I had a question and during the public comment section, I walk up and I say, hey, I've got this question, but I'm gonna have to wait 30 days in order to get it.
Right.
That would be frustrating to anybody. That was the basis of this. That other, as far as protection goes along with it. I looked through that as we were talking just a moment ago. You said limited to 4 persons, and
Yeah.
I'm looking through the updated
Right.
version. I couldn't find it, so I was going to ask. But it has been removed, and there is no strict time limit on it. Does that change your view as looking at it now, or?
Well, in the thing, it says, it doesn't give a number on time, 3
Right.
minutes, 7 minutes, or whatever, so we're not like having to time them. But I think anybody that takes the time out of their busy day, and everybody lives busy lives and got their own life going on, if they come to this meeting, take time out, they should be able to approach that podium and speak, not get the answer to a question, because they ain't submitted the paperwork.
What if they come, but here's another thing, if they submit their question and we're sitting here without an answer, that's what's gonna happen.
Well, that's what this is, that's the way we've been, and that's where we are now. I think it's a service that we're providing to them, answering their question. If they fill out the appropriate paperwork, they will get their answer.
We got a month to get it versus a week. That limits us on getting their answer and them getting upset because we don't have an answer.
Then, as far as that goes, we're talking about a time
No, we're
issue.
saying sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, we're talking about a time issue that they have to get their questions in.
Correct. Yeah, well, to get it to the attorney,
To get it to the
attorney.
city administrator
Yeah.
and thus the attorney, so if everybody's in agreement that 7 days is not enough time, I've got no issue going 10 days to 2 weeks.
right.
And if you want it to read that way, that's fine.
Right now, it's a point where they ask the question tonight, and in 30 days to the next meeting, they get their answer. If they submit the paperwork and they bring it in, he's got the answer, and in 10 days, 14 days, they've got their answer instead of waiting 30 days.
How do you feel about it, John?
Yes, I believe with 2 weeks' time, that'd be plenty of time to have a response, because the response it might just not be a me issue. It's gonna have to bounce around between the council member that it was directed to Keith, to me, back down. So I think 14 days would probably be enough
Kirk, how do you feel about
for
14
everybody
days?
to do that.
Yeah, I've got no issue with that, none
14 's
whatsoever.
good.
If extending the time, is an issue on this, then by all means, let's extend it.
Right. That's one issue I got, and the other issue is just limited, it's where people can't speak if they don't submit the paperwork. Now, I'm not saying don't get an answer.
Right.
They don't get an answer. I think this is 2 issues here. Come and speak. That way we know what you're talking about, because your paperwork that you fill out may not give us enough information, but you're not gonna get your answer tonight.
Right.
Plus, this one protects the council from being attacked, and it gives more provisions on protection and a more uniform meeting.
Sure.
But, the only thing I got,
If that's some verbiage that needs to be changed before next council meeting, by all means.
I think it needs to be changed before we vote on it and sign it, and then just work that out, even if we have to have, everybody submit however you wanna do it. I mean, we used to do
I think
works.
we've pretty well got it worked out now.
Yeah.
I mean, we can extend the period to a 2-week period. And again, anybody that approaches that podium, whether they're on the agenda or not, will have the right to speak.
I have no problem at that point,
Right.
as long as the citizens can speak.
But
That's
if they have not submitted their paperwork.
They get no answer.
They'll get no answers.
No answer.
Until we have an opportunity to answer.
right. Jennifer, what about you? You got
Sounds
any?
good.
Sounds good. Carol, is that good with you guys? Doc? You good with that? So we can clean that up, and then we can have it ready for our next.
Are we tabling this and then?
I make a motion that we table it till
I'll
we get
second
it.
that.
Table it. We got a motion and a second on the floor. Roll call vote, Ms. Larson?
Mayor Belbray?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Okay. Next item is consider approval of first reading of ordinance 614-17, amending the fiscal year 2015-16 budget, passed by ordinance 601-15. Keith, would you like to speak to that?
This is an ordinance that has been put together at the request of the auditor. Upon completion of the audit, we had a car last year that was damaged in a wreck, and what he is wanting to do is increase general fund revenues for sale of assets by $36,754, and also increase police department capital outlay by $36,754. No new monies, just an even balance. The $36,754 comes from the insurance check that was issued to us from our pool, our insurance carrier. We retained the salvage vehicle and received a settlement from the insurance company for $28,629. The insurance company offered us $1,250 for the salvage car. I declined that check and sold the car through auction at $8,125, which gives us the grand total of $36,754.
Okay.
If I may, is this the vehicle that the young lady crossed the center line and struck Officer Ferguson?
So, kind of give me tell me what's happening here. I don't understand what's going on.
The auditor's wanting to increase revenues and increase capital outlay so that they net zero. The money we sold the car for, and then the other just balance each other out. So it's a net zero change. It's just showing this, how much money we received off the wrecked car and the insurance settlement check, and then it puts the money on the other side for the police department and just zeroes out.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor, roll call vote?
Mayor Belpre,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval to renew appointment of Tony Hogan to the BZA for the term expiring October 2019. I think our Board of Zoning Appeals Chairman's here. Would you like to speak to that? Lloyd? Yeah.
I recommend to the council to renew his appointment because Tony does a good job. He's real thorough about what he does, and he's very knowledgeable. So I think he'd be good
Okay.
for another term.
All right. I just think it's appropriate, you being the chairman, to get the chance to put your knowledge in too, because you've worked with him now, for a little while on there, and you
I've
just
known
said what I
Tony
was fixing to ask him to
Pretty
get
much
a
all his
good.
life, I know.
Yeah.
He's been
Okay.
a child.
All right.
All right. Thank
We
you.
were also sure to ask him, make sure he wanted to serve again, and he did wish to continue,
Yeah,
so.
okay. All right.
I'll
Well,
make a motion.
and motion and second on the floor, roll call vote?
Mayor Belpre,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green. Yes. Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Consider approval consider approval of contract with Mark's Pops in the amount of $8,000 for July 1st fireworks show. Keith, would you like to speak to that?
This is Mark's Pots, same company we used last year. This is right at the bid limit, so if we were to go over the 8,000, we would have to go sealed competitive bid. Mark's is already aware of all the facilities. They already have all of the information together, all the necessary paperwork. They have all the insurance in place, and this will just continue the fireworks show. And we have set it for July 1st, the Saturday before the 4th, at the request of the council to continue the Saturday and be able to do the mingling market and the other activities for the citizens of Allgood.
Okay.
And they put on a pretty doggone good show last year.
Is it the same?
Be the same vendor, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get the same displayer as well. They're two different individuals. They can't be a vendor and a displayer for the same show.
Okay. All righty.
I'll make a motion.
Motion and second on the floor, roll call vote?
Mayor Belpre,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to the city administrator's report. Keith?
Comparative for the month is 50%. General fund revenues are at 40.69% at $1,483,577.86. General fund expense is 31.61%. That's $1,208,697.73. Water sewer revenues are 52.98%. That's $831,084.93. Water sewer expense is 45.93%, $725,095.60. Total account balances at current state are $8,400,806.27. On here was January 16th, we were closed, so no residential trash routes affected. That's a little out of date today. One thing we do need to consider is the February meeting date falls on February 14th. That is Valentine's Day. I'm not sure how you all feel about that, or if you want to move it to Monday, February 13th, or if that would affect anybody.
What do y'all think?
Any comment?
You can go the 7th or the 21st.
You won't do the 14th? You don't wanna do the 14th?
Oh, well, it's fine with me if that's what you wanna do. Probably
We can
not.
move it up Monday, the 13th, if y'all want to do it one day early, so it's not so far out of line.
That's fine with me.
I'd like to talk about work meetings. I know we got a lot of good discussion about other things that aren't brought to the meetings. I know it's a little time that we need to, that we have to, give our time. What do y'all think about discussing other things aside from what's on the agenda?
That's what we've been kind of doing under my reports, trying to discuss items
Yeah,
that we need to talk about. And if you all have something, I'll throw it on there for discussion. That way it's made public and everybody gets a chance to comment, and it's worked pretty efficiently for us the last couple of months. February meeting date, do we want to go with the 13th, or do you all want to change it to a different week?
February 13th is fine with me.
It's fine with me.
Okay.
That's good. Okay. February 13th will be our meeting. Everybody wants to make note of that and put that on your calendar.
The Burton Branch project is underway. Sometime mid-January, they're supposed to be putting up the necessary road construction signs and then beginning construction. We will be holding a monthly construction meeting with them, going over everything. We'll have an engineer on site monitoring progress and letting us know if there's any problems they run into. The 2017-2018 budget, some things we need to start looking at are commercial trash truck and the snow plow. It is my recommendation that we do not purchase police cars this year. With the first two that have rolled off, we've sold the Chief's black car, and it brought in on Gov Deals $18,000. Of that, we got $16,025. We purchased the car for $23,000. What I think is that most of the market for these used Chargers is to be under the $20,000 mark. So it's my recommendation that the council consider running the cars at least 1 year longer and for higher mileage. And that way we get more value out of the cars and also get the car down to the price range that appears to be the optimal market. We had several buyers interested at $22,000 for the car. Even had one lined up, was supposed to bring a check, and it just never came through. So it appears the market for these cars isn't going to be above $20,000. So I think we need to run them longer and get more use out of them.
We only gave 23 for them because we had budgeted like 120,000 for 4 cars.
On the Chief's car, we reused the equipment on his new car, so the cost of the equipment wasn't repurchased. It went right back into the new car that we purchased, so we
Okay,
just
so-
transferred it.
So what you're saying is that vehicle we got 23 out of, but the others we may not if we don't reuse
Right.
the equipment, right?
Right.
So we may take a bigger hit. at
See,
that
so
point.
we've got to look at the market.
What was the market? When they like 32, Chief?
36.
They were 36,000, and we're only getting, he said 16 out of it.
No, we gave 28 something marked.
I'm sorry, but the
Okay, how many?
We got 28 something in them.
28, well, that makes
With
it-
equipment
makes it
marked,
sound
yeah.
bad. 28,
Yeah,
and we only got
so
16, so we
then-
losing 12,
Right.
losing 12,000 for that, but still, it's a better thing than doing all the maintenance that we've got. We just
Well-
need to adjust it so that we get the most out that we can get out of the taxpayers' money.
Extending, I think extending the usage for another calendar year.
We'll do that.
Starting at this point into this progression, now we know when we need to buy, and we're actually going to spend a little bit less money by doing it this way, in the long run.
Well, being in emergency services, it's not a set thing, it's a learning process
This is
to know
true.
what you can and can't do,
This
so.
is true.
But we'll keep the vehicles for 3 years?
Keep
We
you,
keep them for 4 to 5,
4 to
depending on the
5
car.
years.
Right.
Yeah,
The other recommendation I would have is we declared that one white Charger as surplus. I would think in order to complete this plan and keep it on stage, I think we just hang on to that car as a backup instead of trying to sell it. And maybe we consider getting rid of the black Impala. That way we're going to keep as a backup.
It's
That
starting to cost a little money.
it's getting to where it's not worth as much to keep it.
Okay.
And that will give us the backup car we need and fully implement the plan. And then the year after next, we can reissue and go back to the plan and look at it and see where we're at again.
well, what are we looking, I know, and you've got to the budget, we're looking at some budget issues. There's a gentleman that's been here several years in a row wanting a sidewalk in front of his house, and that's Mr. Gist.
It is. We are fixing to start on that. I'm going to try to get bids to at least get around the corner at 4th Avenue
Good,
and get started down the hill and see where we're at.
okay.
We're also looking, and I've got it on here, parking lot bids for sealing and restriping here and at the community center. I'm trying to get those together.
Okay.
The old City Hall roof bid is out, and by next month I hope to have that back to you. Williams Square project, we did get permitted to do the bank stabilization in the back corner, and those are out to bid, and hopefully we'll be back next month. I'm currently looking at bid specs to do Main Street, at least from Burton Branch down to Riley's Path, because the Walmart intersection is getting pretty washboard and pretty rough, and we do need to repair that. That's going to require that we grind that up and that we restripe it, and it's also going to have traffic loops back in it for the lights. So that's going to be a little more detailed of a project, but that's one thing we're looking at.
Have you talked to anybody about coming out and doing an evaluation on the traffic right there?
We've had some numbers done. I need to see when the update plan is. I know Cookville had put out some traffic counters, and they were supposed to be getting us some numbers back, and we'll try to get an update on those as well.
There's a truck sitting down there tonight,
Mhm.
traffic count.
Mhm. Is that what he's doing? I seen the lights,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, I saw that gentleman on into Cookville earlier. Correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, those last estimates we had for any given day was 18,000
For
vehicles through that light at Walmart.
do you remember the number, Chief? We've looked at the numbers so many times in so many different streets. I'd have to look at it again to give you an exact number.
And Keith,
Probably a weekend number.
They're supposed to, when they do an annual traffic study, it's supposed to account for holidays, traffic, some extra things, and two-way traffic. And so there's supposed to be some account of what happens with those when they do that to kind of balance it and give you an accurate annual traffic count.
How about the farmer's market grant?
I've checked on that. I don't think it's going to come due till at least another year or two, because the last time I checked, it was still, some of those are on cycles and they only come around every so many years. And so I'm trying to get some more going and figure out what we can do on that. If you all decide to do the farmer's market, I don't know that that's a major expense. I mean, it's probably in the $50,000 range to do all the parking lot in the building and everything at the lot over here across the road. Depending on how you want to do that. Of course, we can do some of the drain tile and stuff and try to level it. And we've got some fill dirt right now that Director Jones and I were talking about using to fill and start leveling and trying to get some of the prep work done.
We have to get a lease with the railroad also.
We would, if there was a building or parking lot, we'd have to work out a lease with them, which
Is
we
that
could
a-
deal with.
Is that within 25 feet of the railway? Is that
I
correct?
believe it is.
When you have to get a lease?
We might be able to avoid the 25 feet with everything but the parking lot. We'll just have to look at that and see.
Well, we've got that paved parking lot right there beside the, farmer's market.
Yeah.
I'm sure, we wouldn't have to pave a whole lot right there,
And a commercial dumpster.
Taking a poke at Dr. Hurd,
Keith,
wouldn't it?
couldn't we put sidewalks from the dollar store down to, the cafe down there?
I was just thinking about that.
We could, we'd have
All
to.
people that walks that, and there's especially one elderly man that walks that every morning and
Right.
night.
We'd probably have to put some tile in to do that.
You'd actually probably have to level that ditch like you did on, Riley's Path.
Yes, on the other side,
The way you
Riley's
did
Path.
down- The way you edged that off at the street.
You could do that, right, Victor? So it wouldn't be that.
We could do the pipe, we'd probably wanna have somebody pour the sidewalk. One thing we gotta watch is, Director Jones doesn't have a huge staff, so if I take on too many projects,
Oh,
it
yeah,
kinda
yeah,
really pinches down on us.
right.
Well, he can put in 67 more hours.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Um,
So now you're talking about the budget, when we're not putting the police cars in, would you say you were looking at putting in something, the trash truck?
I'd like for us to consider a commercial trash truck and a snowplow of some sort, however y'all
Was
wanna.
there something else that we took out of budget, something about you fixed potholes and stuff like that?
We've got the patch machine in there, and we think we can do it this year.
Okay.
And we were able to acquire some equipment trailers that we're not gonna have to purchase that should help us reduce cost a little bit this year, so that's
Okay.
gonna be good.
Keith,
Cameras is what you've got for cars or body cams or both?
Cars, and, I mean, where we can
Okay.
interface with car and body cam.
Okay, all right.
I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
no, no, no.
I was gonna ask you, have we not excluded this garbage truck the last 2 fiscal years? I know we did last year.
Yes.
Snowplow's been at least 2 years. I think the garbage truck was last year. Then,
Average lifespan's not past 6 or 7 years, is it?
Well, it's starting to give us trouble now. We just now had to put brakes and wheel guns on the whole truck. And then doing that, we come up on a lot of ruts.
Of course, there's a lot of other things we need to discuss concerning that. I mean, commercial dumpsters and everything else involved.
the sanitation fees we need to look at, because we haven't increased sanitation fees in many, many years. And at this point, if we barely break even, we'll be lucky, and that's not even including cost of replacement trucks. So,
Okay.
and then the same is true for water and sewer taps. We haven't increased those rates since probably '08 or '09, and now there's a no lead, brass parts and components, and then we've been trying to figure out what kind of money we've got invested just in components, not counting manpower and installing it and cleanup and road repair and things like that. So those are things that we're gonna need to address as we move forward.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I have. Department heads.
Department heads? Good? Okay. Brings us to the hearing of citizens and/or delegations. If you would like to speak, please approach the podium, directing your comments directly to the chair.
Roger Williams, I just got some questions I'd like to sort of put before y'all, so we can think about it by next month. How much money, I mean, before you bid, what's the price? $10,000 or something like that? Before
Once you
have
go
to have
over
a bid?
8,000, you have to do sealed bids.
Well, is capital budget or something like that, your capital outlay, is that supposed to be bid out? Is that part of the 10,000?
Which part of capital outlay?
Well, we've hired some architects, and did that get bid out to
That
any
was,
other architects?
that was bid out and under contract for several years.
Well,
And
how long is a contract? When I was on
Uh,
the school board, a contract was only good for about a year. You couldn't make a contract any longer. And then you had to rebid it again. What's the deal on, what, is that the ruling on it, or what?
Well, what we have to do is we'll just try to get you an answer on that.
Okay, and does anybody know what the percentage is we're paying these guys?
The percentage of what's that?
The contractors, the architects. Does anybody up here know what we're paying in their contract?
it was a flat fee. I had the number, but I'd have to get it. I don't have it in front of me.
When
It's
it was
not
approved,
It's not a percentage or anything like that?
No, it was just a
or-
flat fee.
When it was approved, it was on the paperwork.
So
and
if
it
you
was
have a
wrong.
change order, it doesn't, they don't get any more money or anything like that?
The architect would not get any different. They were going to bill the same.
So it's
for
not
the
gonna be based on what they spend?
Not on
It's
the
gonna be
architect.
based on just the flat
Now,
fee?
the construction, if it goes in, there may be change orders, but they would have to come back here and
Okay,
the
so
council.
what's that, what are we gonna pay for that?
Depends.
That's what I'm getting, I guess what I'm saying is, we always, on the school board, we always bid out each project, took two or
Well,
three people.
when the
to come
construction
back.
starts, it will be bid out. There'll be a bid process, The bids
By the
will-
architect?
by the architect, but the council approves them. The architect will put the bid documents together, send the bid documents out. They'll bring back all of the bids and present them to the council. Here's what this
No, I'm not
contractor.
talking about the contractors, I'm talking about the architects.
Now, the
Did
architect-
any architects bid on this thing?
They did, but it's been several
that long?
years, yeah.
Okay, well, another thing is, we changed the footprint of this. It was gonna be added on to the building, but the way I'm seeing it over there now, we're entirely different. Somewhere in the meeting, you said you're gonna have different electricity and everything like that. To me, that would be a different footprint.
No, it's still in the same footprint, it's gonna, the buildings will be tied together, but the utilities will be for Putnam County, and then the other side will be the city of Albany.
So it's sort of changed since 2 or 3, 4 years ago. I'm just saying, we got a lot of things going here that we decided 4 or 5 years ago and, need to look at it. We're spending a lot of money. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Next. All right, no other comments? I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.